What's the deal, my people? You know it is Don Tony Teflon, and I'm back at you another from episode 4, season 2 review. And if you're into things like this, make sure you subscribe, click that bell so you can be notified every time I drop a new video. We are almost at 70,000 subscribers, huge number for the channel. If we get there, we will do a giveaway tonight live, and we are joined by Hannah in the Escaping From After Show at 10 p.m. Eastern. So hope to see you there. Let's recap, and then I will give you my predictions and my theories at the end of the video. You knew this was going to be all about Kenny when they showed the flashback of how exactly Kenny got into this town. I'm going to say it straight up. It was nice to see Kenny in some pants that actually fit his ass, you know what I mean? Good to see Kenny in that role. But they showed him how he had to put his father inside of the hospital because his father had an event where he almost opened the door, and that's why him and his mother were forced to put them there. I don't know about that, me personally. I don't know why they couldn't have just got a better lock for the door, but hey, they had to put him up in there. They felt like it was the best thing for him being there, and he truly did not want to be there. He just wanted to be with his family, understandably, but that's what he had to do. And then we see exactly how Kenny became the deputy toward Boyd, because Boyd said, hey, you seem like a good kid, he needs someone to watch his 6. But in the end, watching this, it was pretty easy to see what was coming, that there was definitely going to be a rift between Boyd and Kenny, because the way they were setting everything up and other things that he talked about between Boyd and Kenny, you just knew that that was coming. Me and Phil talked about Breaking Bad Kenny, that Kenny possibly had the chance to break bad this season, and it seems like this is exactly what's going on this season. There is a good chance that he could break bad. Tabitha is back inside of the house, and she's trying to get to some normal type activity while she is at the house. And while she's there, she says, hey, why don't you go and visit Victor? And that's where we see Julie say, hey, do you want to go see your boy out there? And of course, Ethan does want to go see him. And now we see Ethan has definitely got the wizard cane rocking. So that could be Ethan's job on the quest. He's the new wizard. After this, we see Kenny tell Boyd, look who I found inside of the church. And that is when Boyd goes down inside of the church, and he's like, oh my God, she's really here. And he has questions for him. Now, I know there was a lot of people who wanted questions, who wanted answers to questions. Kenny looked like he wanted some answers in his question and his facial reactions too. And I think we did get some answers to some of the questions that people were asking about. And Boyd asked her, what happened? Where did you go after you pushed me inside the tree? He said, I went in right behind you, and it sent me right here to this spot. She also tells Boyd that it wasn't her idea, it was the boy in white, and she explains it to him. So we can now say that Boyd did not see the boy in white. Sarah was the only one who was able to see him. So is the boy in white real, or is he inside people's heads? We'll talk about that at the end of the video. We then see Julie in Colony House, and she becomes one of the bridesmaids for Fatima and Ellis's wedding. And then Ethan finally gets to talk to his boy, but Victor is upset because he trashed his room with Jay. Even though Ethan tried to explain, he told him not to do it. At this particular time, he is still too salty, doesn't really want to talk to him. He's got 2 empty jars of peaches in front of him, and he's also drawing pictures of what him and his mother seen while he was in the cave. Ethan's asked what did he see, but yet he does not want to talk to him. And you can see his depiction of one of the monsters doesn't truly look exactly like the monster, but we'll talk about that at the end of the video. After that, we see Julie and Elgin hanging out. And listen, I know some people may start trying to ship Julie with Elgin. I mean, she's single. He's talking about all this, marriage stuff. I mean, let me know in the comment section if you think that this could be the next couple that we see in this show. I will give you my opinion at the end of the video. But it seemed like, they were definitely getting along, unless she was just trying to be nice and do what Fatima did for her for him, because he still seems that he's lost and he hasn't even gotten a grasp of what's going on. Ethan then comes down and cop blocks and is like, I want to go home right now, because him and Victor did not get along, and that's exactly what happens after that. She's like, I have to see you later, peace out. After that, we then switch back to our boy Boyd, who is dealing with the situation going on inside of his arm, but he's at the hospital trying to see what is going on. And you know, you get a little levity in there while that's there, but Boyd is definitely not feeling good. And we hear Kenny talking to his mother, and while he's talking to her, she's like, you know, how are you doing with Christy and all of that situation? How are you handling it? And we still see Kenny acting like normal Kenny, saying, you know, I just want her to be happy. That's what's most important, is just her being happy. We get the bus driver and Jade inside of the bar, hanging out in the bar, and her and Banta start talking. And while they're talking, he starts saying, you know, Boyd told me not to come. He told me to turn around. But Jade was like, is that before or after you seen the tree? And she said it was after you seen the tree. And he was like, well then, it doesn't matter. You were already effed, because once you see the tree, you're stuck. And I think they're trying to explain that to us, let us know exactly the purpose of what's going on. Again, I told people that I do believe that that tree is a faraway tree, which is a teleportation device that's linked to a wormhole, but we'll talk about more about that at the end of the video. But they have a good conversation, and it seems like they're the only two people in the bar. So in my opinion, one of these two people will become the new town bartender. They actually brought up the town bartender position being open. Who will fill that void? Who's it going to be? Let me know in the comment section what you think. After we see Tabitha looking for a husband in a hospital, and that is when she meets Christy's fiance for the first time. And then we get Jim talking to his wife, and he gives his theory, which sounds an awful lot like mine, that this is all just an experiment. He says that he heard a voice on the radio, and we finally get them talking. I know a lot of people wanted them to start exchanging information, and here we got them exchanging some information. He told her that she heard a voice on the radio. He said that she said it was impossible, but they had the wires dangling there, and there was nothing there in the wires whatsoever, nothing connecting them to get the power. And she asked him, did anybody else actually hear this voice? Like, kind of like she wasn't believing the story fully. And then he goes, thinks about it, and then that leads us to the other scene that gets between him and Donna, because Donna was outside in the rain when that whole situation jumped off and went down, in case some people didn't realize that Donna was there when the voice came across the radio. It's definitely a quick thing that you've seen last year, and it's easy to miss. So I think that's exactly why they put that scene in there. They put this conversation in there for them to have it, so he could have his conversation with Donna. We then see Boyd have a conversation with Father Kotry, who is no longer there, but it must be Boyd in his head. Now, it's weird the way this went down, this conversation, and I'm going to talk about that more in the end. But basically, he told him at the end to, hey, shut up, don't tell Kenny anything about what happened to Sarah. When we do see Jim run up and meet with Donna, Donna's like, listen, I heard what I heard, but you need to keep that shit under wraps. And she said something that is very poignant in this conversation, and we're going to talk about that in the end of this video, because she says, you don't even know if that voice you heard was a human voice. That's very important. We'll talk more about that in the theories place. We see Randall kick the hell out of somebody right in the ribs because they were out there jumping in his bag in Colony House. I gotta agree with the dude. You can't just be going up in my bag like you own the shit. I would have probably did the exact same thing, in all honesty. But then he gets kicked out of Colony House. We see Kenny down there talking to Sarah, and Kenny, being goddamn chatty patty, should have just shut his mouth and everything would have been fine, but he pressed Sarah, and Sarah broke under the interrogation skills of Kenny, the deputy, and she confessed to everything and all the things that she had done that led to the death of his father. And then Donna is just not having it. She puts the axe on this dude, gets him out of the house, walks him over to the bus, and says, "This is your new home, buddy. I truly hope you enjoy it." And we find out what happened to the Matthews talisman. It's in the bus now with him. So there were questions that were answered in this episode. I know a lot of people in the comment section are going to say a lot of things about this episode. I feel it coming already. But they did answer some of the questions that I think people wanted them to answer. Not all of them, but some of them at least. We then see this new chick. She shows up again, and she's another chatty patty because she has all the information of everything that's going on. She's like, "Where the hell is Kenny? Oh, I've seen Kenny." She seems to know a lot about everybody. Like, she always there. She is like Johnny on the spot. And that's when we see Kenny inside the spot where his dad got murdered. Thank God they cleaned it up. And he has it out with Boyd because Boyd knew all along. Boyd was wanted to keep it to him, but he said he was going to tell him. And that's when we see Kenny drop the badge, and that ends the episode. So I've heard many people and many times talk about these episodes and say, hey, this is a filler episode, this is one. I would have to agree on this one that there's no doubt that this was definitely a filler episode, but they did give us some things. They did give us some nuggets that we were wondering. Like, we did wonder what happened to the Matthews talisman. We know exactly what happened to the talisman. We also get Donna say specifically in there that if the talisman does touch the floor, then the talisman does not work anymore whatsoever. We got that. We've seen that when Victor does draw these pictures, they are not identical one-to-one drawings of these monsters and stuff. So we did get that. Also, we got Jade sitting down inside of the bar with this chick, and I'm telling you, one of them is going to be the new bartender in this whole situation, I think. Is that truly important for the show? I don't think so, but I think that, Jade is always complaining about how this stuff tastes and how terrible it is. Maybe she figures out a way to make it taste better, and then she becomes the new bartender. Put in the comment section who you think is going to become the new bartender, because they did bring up specifically that that's opening. I mean, the whole Kenny thing was foreshadowed from the beginning, from the opening credits when they showed it. You seen the fallout was going to come between him and Boyd, that there was going to be a problem between them, and it just was not going to work out in the end. And that's exactly what we got here. We got the beginning of their story, how they met and everything else. They went through that whole situation just to get us to the point where Kenny is just upset and he's gone and he has to break north. When dealing with Boyd, it's weird the way he talks to Father Khatri, because he seems shocked when he walks in the room and sees him sitting there. This is happening in his head, and he knows that he's talking to him. So why does he seem shocked when he sees him there and starts talking to him? Is this something that is inside of his body that's making him see the hallucinations of Father Khatri? Because he definitely sees shock when he sees him, Usually if you sit there and you're talking to yourself, you're talking to yourself. But he seems shocked to see him there and get advice from him. We knew the actor was returning this season, and this would be the only way he could have returned unless it was in a flashback scene. We also see Tabitha and Jim finally have a conversation. I think people wanted them to start talking, but she hasn't opened up yet about what's going on in them damn tunnels, that she knows exactly where these creatures sleep. She should have opened up about that, but we did get Jim opening up about his theory. So overall, I thought it was a solid episode, not one of my favorite episodes of any season, to be totally honest with you, and I always will be that, but it was, I think, the starting point. So as I compared this to a roller coaster, as we hear Jim talk about roller coasters, I think that this is the last stop up, and everything else is a straight downhill drop from here, meaning a good thing, not a bad thing. Like you're gonna start screaming when you go down the hill. I think this set that up. We're going to see Kenny break bad. Again, it was nice to see Kenny in some goddamn pants that fit his ass finally. And does Julie have a boyfriend brewing? Is that what is going on in this piece? I want you to leave it in the comment section how you feel. And if you want to ask Julie that question, or Hannah, she will be joining us tonight live on the Escaping From show, the #1 from after show in the whole goddamn world. Make sure you join us there. You can call in and ask her a question. 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope to see you there. And if you like the way I do this, please thumbs up this, spread this across the realm, and as always, subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.